I never raided in Lost Ark. I didn't play the game past the tutorial because I didn't want to blow my entire life savings on the pay to win elements. So I've heard this raid was really, really cool and I wanted to check it out. Just, I don't know. As a WoW player, I always like seeing raids from other video games. Surely, this raid wouldn't be hard for WoW Andy.
This time we're dissecting the finale against the space opera phantom Albershud. As a disclaimer, if you're trying to face this boss in the future blind, you should stop watching this video as it contains fight spoilers. Otherwise, it's kind of like a guide, but a really terrible one. The video is just meant for entertainment for people to hear about mechanics that aren't obvious by just watching the gameplay. At the time of recording, this is the highest level encounter in Lost Ark and the most mechanically complex fight to date. Phase 6 is a 20 to 25 minute endurance battle against 28.5 billion HP split across 250
That's a lot of health.
You made the DPS check in the previous fight in Phase 5. Your damage is sufficient to clear Phase 6 since there's more damage uptime and a longer fight timer. The reward for clearing Phase 6 is...
I will never understand the obsession of Western games putting like insanely absurd numbers for the sake of what? It's like you're reaching Mist of Pandaria level of shenaniganry. What's the point? I mean, you can't even read it. It's like, oh, 1 million damage per basic attack. Okay, cool, great, Chief. Surely Maple Story would never do such a thing.
Unique, but you're guaranteed.
And it's crazy because I come from Maple Story originally.
Crafting and a small chance of looting the highly coveted Esther Stone. Clearing this battle is not necessary for anything in particular, but there are achievements linked to it. You can progress your gear fine by opting to skip this fight and just clearing the earlier fights in the raid for materials. Besides for 27 unique attacks, some of which are strengthened after the second half of the fight begins, there are 4 mechanics that can be tricky to resolve, 2 which of repeat, and a final desperation attack at 1 HP that's mostly for theatrics.
I'm not gonna lie, the map is fire.
225 lines of health.
The map is good.
Reduce a hallucination and are isolated from the rest of the group, while a shape appears throughout their screen. Memorize this shape, since it'll be important in a moment. A demon spawns in the center tile, checking orbs which reduce your movement speed if you're hit by them, but we can cheese this by standing in a narrow blind spot behind it. Afterwards,
I don't understand anything.
Of the map grid will start to light up, and you must navigate to a spot that isn't lit. This is repeated 3 times. While this is happening, you'll occasionally be afflicted with a debuff which flips your controls, symbolized by a purple swirling ball above your head, making your character move in the opposite direction of where you click. This debuff will turn on and off a few times during this. If you're struck by one of the lit up grid spaces, you'll be killed.
Do we have captions?
After 3 of these, everyone is released from the hallucination and Albershud teleports to the center. They'll start releasing the same orbs from before, which reduced movement speed. By hitting her and standing close by, a shape will appear near her. The one player that saw this shape in the hallucination must guide the other 7 players to the safe grid spots, as Albershud will repeat the attack again in the same order that they saw it before.
And that's Phase 1. Phase 2 is completely different.
Once this is resolved, the players can fight again normally, but the next gimmick appears very shortly. Several tornadoes travel across the map, dealing heavy damage to
really hope I'm wrong about this. I was just joking.
Have a debuff that can be removed if the tornado touches them, but it's important that they don't remove it. The player still has the debuff and it naturally expires. They're sent to another plane where there's a single black orb. They have a few seconds to destroy it. Should they fail, they're spit back out to join their party, and the orb blows up into a swirling vortex, greatly impeding movement and either pushing or pulling players away gradually. This lasts for a very long time and makes DPSing the boss very difficult, so destroying the orb is important. The more players that lose their debuff by getting hit by a tornado, the more difficult it'll be to break the orb. DPS continues until 188 lines of health. At 188 lines of health, the fight officially begins. Albershud teleports to the center and a brief intermission plays.
Why not have one line of health?
Each of the players is marked sequentially 1 second apart from one another. The raid map is split into a 3x3 grid. Each grid space has 3 HP. When a blue meteor lands on any of the spaces, it reduces the tile's HP by...
Bro, how is he still talking about mechanics? What is that? Is that... I really don't know. I really do not know what the hell is going on. That's crazy. I mean, I never thought anyone would ever go beyond WoW raiding mechanics. No, I was wrong. Dude, like, Eastern games are insane.
1. A player marked by a golden meteor reduces the HP of the tile it lands on by 3, as well as all adjacent tiles.
How do you even remember all of that?
The first player during this mechanic is marked with the golden meteor, while the other 7 are marked with blue ones. The raid must carefully place these meteors in such a way that no more than 3 tiles are destroyed at any given time. When a 4th tile is destroyed, Albershud will immediately perform a raid wipe. Finally, tiles regenerate back into play with full HP 1 minute and 40 seconds after being destroyed. When a tile is destroyed, it also means the map is shrunk as well. Like the 1st Legion General Vulcan, players are instantly killed if they're hit by a stagger, knockback, or knockdown while standing near the edge of the map. You can fall off the map by getting knocked off, but fortunately the game doesn't let you just walk off. After resolving this mechanic, blue meteors will begin to fall on random party members every 1 minute, while golden meteors will select a random party member at specific HP intervals.
Do they have add-ons like World of Warcraft? I'm afraid not.
After 188 lines though, the boss becomes considerably
They have to
more
eyeball
dangerous.
it, which is the craziest part.
To include several heavy knockback attacks that are designed to smack players off the map. These are the yellow telegraph attacks. No matter how geared you are, if your reflexes are slow here, you'll face a death by gravity.
Damn.
It's important to understand what super armor
Boomer's
options you
out.
have in a
That's
pinch.
like an
You also have to avoid
anti-boomer
taking
mechanic.
Yellow telegraphs as much as possible, since every time you're hit
It's
by
a
one,
reflex
you'll gain
check.
an infinite duration debuff, which at 3 stacks will cause a blue meteor to begin dropping on you. After dealing with the golden meteor, you have to survive for 1 minute and 40 seconds for the destroyed tiles to respawn before entering the 113 line pattern. This is because you'll want the full map space for what comes next. At 113 lines, a new intermission plays.
You need to sing along with the boss. And if you fake a note, you die. Great mechanic, surely. God bless. The fight looks amazing, though. I'll give him credit. It looks like, whoa.
Players navigate to the center and
Crazy.
to dodge a quick pizza attack and then divide themselves to different parts of the map to avoid the giant palm slam in the center.
Yes?
A black hole forms that gradually pulls players towards it, and a huge number of red orbs begin flying in from outside of the map towards the center. We can use Esther's Shandy here, which is kind of like a party ultimate or a limit break if you're coming from Final Fantasy XIV.
Oh, we
to slow
know
down
those?
time and assist with dodging these. The red orbs deal
Easy
heavy
clap.
damage and inflict a debuff on the player if they get hit by it. At 3 stacks of this debuff, the player dies. At the same time, gold orbs will fly in as well. All players have to collect 2 of these in order to survive the explosion at the end. There will also be 4
avoid
smaller
red.
black hole
Avoid
orbs on
red,
4
enter
of the
gold.
tiles. 4 players have to each enter one of them right before the pattern ends to avoid getting sucked into the center and pulled into another dimension. You have to time this carefully, as entering the orb too early won't protect you from getting pulled in. To perform successfully, 4 players...
I'm not gonna lie. It looks like a boss who's kind of like, you cannot defeat them. It's just a last man standing situation. It's like an event where you throw infinite stuff on players to see who's the last man standing, and that guy wins. It doesn't seem like you can defeat her even. It just looks like the final boss. It's like more than Thanos.
Players get pulled into the center and sent to a separate plane on the same map, while the 4 that enter the small black orbs stay in the original plane with Albrashut. 8 phantoms of Albrashut appear in the original plane, and the 4 players outside must run close to each of them. If any of the clones turn clockwise or counterclockwise, you've got to notify the team on the inside where that clone is, usually with a ping. This lets them know that the clone will appear on their side shortly at that position. The clone that turns clockwise will appear on the other side and must be neutralized within 2 seconds, while a clone that turns counterclockwise must be countered. When the clone is dealt with
What?
properly, it drops a golden buff that gives the player in the inner dimension a shield that lets them survive the explosion at the end. Of the 8 clones, 2 will turn, and this repeats in a second wave for a total of 4 clones and 4 shields when dealt with properly, allowing all 4 players inside to survive. If a clone isn't properly countered or neutralized, not only is a player guaranteed to die since they won't have a shield, the clone also drops a blue meteor on the tile that they were on.
That's some
potentially destroying
PhD
it, which
level
can kill
of
players on
learning
the
for a
outside as they
raid.
won't be able to see the meteor itself. The entire mechanic takes place on 2 versions of the same map, and so quick communication and cooperation is needed for everyone to survive this. From this point onwards, most of Albrashut's random attacks have been strengthened and have additional mechanics that you'll have to deal with. The next gold meteor appears at 87 lines. At 66 lines,
Yes,
tornadoes
I'll
will
remember
appear
that,
again,
surely.
and debuff players once again have to destroy the orb to prevent the vortex from spawning. A spawn vortex is especially deadly at this stage of the fight, where Albrashut has her expanded, strengthened moveset. There's one final golden meteor at 37 lines. After you deal with it and reach 28 lines, the Dream World pattern repeats, and you must once again memorize the shape and the safe spots to navigate to. As part of the map is destroyed at this point, it can be tricky to navigate from one side to the other, but if you manage to prevail at this point, you're on the home stretch. At 25 lines, Albrashut will destroy the 4 corners of the map. She'll no longer kill the entire raid if more than 3 tiles are broken. However, as blue meteors are still spawning, the map will gradually get smaller until only the center tile remains. The goal is to bring her down to 7 lines of health before this happens, as the smaller the map is, the more likely people are to get knocked off. At 7 lines of health, the final major gimmick begins. In an act of desperation, Albrashut will begin to summon one last giant meteor designed to wipe out the party.
Okay, surely this would be an easy dodge. I mean, I'm absolutely baffled. God damn, it looks so good though. It looks absolutely fantastic. Easiest W of their entire life is coming. What the fuck? She's creating a singularity point.
During its
It's
slow
another
descent, you have to
universe.
break through a 22.8 billion HP overshield that she gains, or 200 additional lines of health before the meteor lands in 2 to 3 minutes. If you're tight on DPS on this point and you were getting close to the 20-minute enrage timer, 5 minutes are added, so you don't have to worry so much about it.
What?
Any of the broken tiles possessed of the corner ones are brought back into play right away. 200 more lines is ridiculous though, and the following mechanic is designed to help you punch through that shield. While battling Oberschut and chipping away the shield, the screen will flash at the 1 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock, or 11 o'clock positions. This signifies that a counterable meteor will be flying in towards the center of the map. This will happen 5 times, once in each direction, and 1 more time in 1 random direction. When the meteors arrive, they'll either flash red or blue. Blue ones have to be countered, while red ones have to be ignored altogether. If a red one is countered, it'll explode, dealing heavy AoE damage to players and likely knocking them off the map. When a blue meteor is successfully countered though, the player receives a buff that when expires, fires a long-range laser that'll deal about 14 lines of damage.
What game is this? Lost Ark.
In total, 5 rounds of meteors will appear, of which at least 15 will be counterable, and 14 is practically required to meet the damage check. Have people in each of the quadrants with excess players prepared to assist in case 2 blue meteors appear in 1 quadrant. If you fail to break the shield, the final meteor lands, killing everyone. But if you succeed, then buffs will scatter across the map. Players only need to pick up 1, which will grant them a shield that lets them survive the meteor. Finally, bring Oberschut down to 1 HP, and the last gimmick occurs. An orb spawns at the 7 o'clock position, which she summons in order to wipe out the remaining players. The orb has to be destroyed with normal damage before she can. However, it regenerates 40 million HP per second. As you hit the orb, buffs will pop out of it, which when collected greatly increase your damage output, stacking up to 9 times. Pick up as many orbs as you can, and then nuke her last attack.
Collect blue
faster than it
stuff,
can regenerate,
damage meteor.
bringing an end to the fight once and for all. Please stop watching here if you want to avoid story cinematic spoilers. And that's it.
Oh my god.
Well, there will be raids in the future that are
oh my god. Yeah, we're gonna cut it here. My brain is completely fried. You can take every single one of her phases, and this is a standalone raid boss. What the? How did it? What did I even watch? What is that? I mean, listen. All of this looks extremely fun if you dissect it. I don't understand. Yeah, Zug Zug Brain, exactly. I'm not even sure to what the hell I've witnessed. It's just so extensive. What in God's name are all of these mechanics? How do you even remember that? How do you even begin to remember that? I guess the core principle is blue good, red bad, right? But there's so many stuff. You have minions she summons illusion. You need, like, they turn counterclockwise. What? You have symbols on the ground. You need to memorize the pattern where to go to. It's like they combined every single mechanic of every boss WoW in existence all into one. It's crazy. All of this, I bet, for very, very mediocre loot. all of this to get like a part of a tier set or something. But no, that's absolutely crazy. I can't believe to what I just witnessed.